In this poem, Dove enjoys a moment of flirtation with someone she finds sexually attractive. She urges this person not to speak unnecessarily and to enjoy the quiet. She uses a number of images, including of a peeled and quartered orange on a Wedgwood plate, in order to show the exciting possibilities for those who have made themselves slightly vulnerable when flirting. For, make no mistake about it, the persona's heart is joyfully awakened by this moment of flirtation, and this is reflected in some beautiful imagery about the night sky in particular. In the final part of the poem, Dove suggests that the moment could be made into a topiary, and I will explore this intriguing metaphor in detail later in the video. After all, there's no need to say anything at first. An orange, peeled and quartered, flares like a tulip on a Wedgwood plate. Anything can happen. Outside, the sun has rolled up her rugs and night-strewn salts across the sky. My heart is humming a tune I haven't heard in years. Quiet's cool flesh, let's sniff and eat it. There are ways to make of the moment a topiary, so the pleasures in walking through. This poem is tricky, and all images need to be interpreted in relation to the title, Flirtation. Within today's world, perhaps this can be seen as a problematic area, but not so in the poem. To flirt is to experience excitement, a sense of anticipation, pleasure, joy. And initially, actually, there isn't much need to say anything. Looks, body language, and perhaps an electric touch can be more than sufficient. But we are a little vulnerable when flirting. Dove uses the image of a peeled and quartered orange flaring up like a tulip on a plate. This orange is therefore all alone and has lost its outer layer. It is ready to be consumed, but hasn't as yet. There's an argument that with mere friendships, we don't need to lose our outer layer. But it is different with those to whom we are sexually attracted. The quartered orange shows different aspects of us exposed and primed to be devoured, should both parties decide to go ahead with this. When we are attracted to someone, our bodies instinctively respond, hence the image of a tulip's petals opening up and out. You are exposed, of course. Potential intimacy only involves two people, hence the absence of anything else on the plate. Anything can happen is by far the shortest sentence in the poem, positioned on a single line, and it highlights the excitement about the range of future possibilities for the flirters. The beauty provided by the natural world can complement the feelings of contentment referred to in the poem, and so we have the sun being a cheerful, busy, domestic, tidier upper, and the night scattering stars to create a dazzling visual image. A sense of momentum builds post anything can happen, with a shift in focus to the sun and the night. This pace is aided by the use of alliteration, in the sun rolling up her rugs. What will emerge from this flirtation? What may it lead to? In line 9, the poet uses the metaphor salt to refer to stars. Why? Well, the idea of salt being scattered haphazardly is something far easier to identify with and imagine than the personified figure of night lumping around huge balls of burning gas. It is a simpler, smaller scale, more domestic image, which fits with the more down-to-earth mood and conversational tone of the poem. Note the enjambment between stanzas 5 and 6. My heart is humming a tune. This gives the heart space to seamlessly hum and be happy. Given that the tune hasn't been heard in years, we are safe to assume that the persona has not been flirting successfully for quite some time. Listen to the intensive huh alliteration. My heart is humming a tune I haven't heard in years. Listen to the huh sounds. It is breathy, soft, sensuous, so different to alliteration with harsher consonants such as d, f, g, etc. This fits the sensual, excited mood of the poem. Line 13 contains another tricky image with a reference to quiet's cool flesh. What could the poet be getting at here? Well, clearly we can see some light-hearted, humorous enjoyment of the quiet. After all, if it wasn't enjoyable or tasty, there would not be the subsequent suggestion to sniff and eat it. The poem is giving the abstract idea of quiet a solid, tangible form, some cool flesh. And this bodily reference may suggest some of the physicality which could ensue as a result of this flirtation. The imperative in line 14 seems an invitation from the persona to the person she is flirting with to get involved in some communal activity which takes advantage of the moment, the flirtation they have been enjoying, the quiet. Will they move to the next stage? Lines 15 to 19 contains a concluding statement about flirtation, which in lines 15 to 16 includes some soothing assonance. There are ways to make of the moment. A topiary. What an intriguing, unusual image, which continues the theme throughout the poem of nature being shaped and channeled by humans. First there was the peeled and cut orange, then the single tulip, and here the trimmed and clipped trees or shrubs. To create a topiary is to impose order upon something wilder. Human passions do have the capability of wreaking havoc and running wild, and this is clearly something the persona does not desire. She wants this flirtation to become something controlled and shaped, something admired by others. And yet the final few lines refer to the pleasure in walking through, which may suggest that ultimately this flirtation and this subsequent topiary should be enjoyed for the moment. Things should not get too serious. Things should remain relatively light-hearted. Although perhaps it would be tempting to say that this image may also suggest that the persona is keen on intimate body hair being kept in good order. Why not have a go now at planning topic sentences and juicy quotations, which could be weaved into an outstanding essay on this past paper question? Make some specific points about the way flirtation presents someone describing their feelings directly to the other person, and find some quotations which back up your points and lend themselves to detailed AO2 analysis. Get started because it's pause time. I would start my main paragraph by stating that the persona emphasises the importance of enjoying their moments of flirtation and not speaking unnecessarily. After all, there's no need to say anything at first. In my next main paragraph, I would state that the persona suggests that they should relish the quiet but simmering atmosphere developing between them. Quiet's cool flesh. Let's sniff and eat it. And then in my next main paragraph, I would write that the persona suggests that they need to shape and carefully channel their emotions. There are ways to make of the moment a topiary. Here's now a paragraph from my model grade 9 essay. The persona suggests that the flirters need to shape and carefully channel their emotions. In the final part of the poem, she writes, there are ways to make the moment a topiary. This intriguing metaphor compares this moment of flirtation to the art of cutting bushes and trees into attractive shapes, which can sometimes be of animals and birds. Bushes and trees, when left to their own devices, can become wild and unkempt. Therefore, the persona seems to be suggesting that they need to manage their emotions and passions carefully, so that they collectively produce something ordered and controlled, whilst retaining their innate natural impulses and urges. After all, bushes and trees continue to grow naturally even once they have been cut into a particular shape. Nonetheless, the use of enjambement, including between stanzas 8 and 9, shows the importance of following their feelings naturally and seamlessly without unnecessary and artificial delays.